Phoenix, Saturday night soccer is calling. Join Phoenix Rising on August 2nd at 7:30 p.m. as they take on Birmingham Legion in a can't-miss summer showdown. Enjoy the popular $4 3-for-3 menu with a $4 all-beef hot dog and $3 drink specials available all game long. Tickets start at just $15. Get yours now at phxrisingfc.com. Great food, great match, all for a great price.
Hey, it's Pat. The other day at work, they brought in pizza for lunch, so I swooped in and I grabbed 3 slices. The coworker next to me said, "Geez, Pat, you can't have it all." Then I corrected him and said, "Yeah, I can, and you can too, with a new 2025 Toyota truck. Power and performance, capability and reliability." Well, I must have convinced him because he grabbed the plate out of my hand and he said, "Good point, Pat."
Right now, get low 1.99% financing for 72 months on a new 2025 Tundra. Or get 4.99% 60-month financing on Camry, Corolla, RAV4, and Grand Highlander. Plus, check out great lease deals on any new Toyota. Visit your Valley Toyota dealer or valleytoyotadealers.com today. Toyota, let's go places. 1.99% with $14.75 per thousand borrowed for 72 months. 4.99% with $18.87 per thousand borrowed for 60 months. Offers end 8/4/25 and exclude TRD Pro models. See dealer for details.
Hey, it's Big Cat from the Pardon My Take podcast. If you're looking for a drink that keeps the fun going without weighing you down, pick up some Truly Hard Seltzer. It's crazy refreshing, comes in tons of different flavors, and has only 100 calories per serving. Truly makes it easy to keep the fun going with your crew, which is exactly why it's the official hard seltzer of Pardon My Take. Whether you're out with friends, hosting a game day at home, or just kicking back, grab a Truly Hard Seltzer. Pick it up at your local Total Wine, Walmart, or Circle K, because there's always a lot of party left, Phoenix.
Geico knows there's a home you and a road you. Right now you're hearing home you. He's not in an RV. He's at home, watching the great outdoors on TV.
For the lone gazelle, there sadly is no escape.
Meanwhile, road you always has an escape in an RV covered with Geico's added 24/7 emergency roadside service, so he can explore more of the great outdoors in real life. Except maybe the ravine where the gazelle got stuck. Road you should avoid that. For more road you time, get more with Geico.
If you know, you go. At Superstar Car Wash, we're proud to have over 550,000 members. Be in the know and try what everyone loves today. Text SuperAZ to 27800 to get a free Super Protect car wash. Terms and conditions apply.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix. It's the lunch break.
A franchise-altering move is made official. The Diamondbacks get perhaps the best start of Brandon Pfaadt's career. And did the Cardinals make a mistake this offseason? All of that, the focus of this, the Thursday edition of the lunch break here on KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert with you for the next 2 hours. You can stream the program on the KDUS AM 1060 app, or you can watch the show over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. Producer Evan is behind the glass. He's taking all of your phone calls. 480-864-1060 is your way to join the program here. We've got you until 1 o'clock. A rare time for us where we are not going to open the program discussing the baseball team on this hot Thursday mid-afternoon, about to be afternoon in an hour. It was 118 yesterday. It's going to be 114 today.
Yeah, I really don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to address it.
116 tomorrow on a Friday.
It's getting to the point. It's bad. It's bad.
You and I both love our golf.
You can't even go out there and play.
Going to be tough to play 9, let alone 18 in this weather.
I went out to hit the range yesterday. Like, got home from work, 3:30, whatever. Go hit the range. I was out there. I'm like, this is horrible. This is who would do this to themselves?
I told you. I have campaigned strongly for you to embrace the early tee time, to embrace that.
I know.
First out of the box, the moment the sun is up tee time.
What I should do is get up early. Before I come here, I should go to the range.
Oh, a little pre-show.
Like a 6, 7 a.m. range.
See, and just see. There's no pressure of playing 9 or playing 18. You can just see how your body feels.
Yeah.
in the, what would it be, 90-degree weather at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. in the morning.
Real light.
It snuck up on me, the heat. Like yesterday, we're in the building most of the day. The AC's on in here. It's normally colder in this building. And I go from my car to the building, and then I go from my building to the car, and then I go from the car to the inside. And yesterday, I spent a little bit more time outside of the building, outside of my car, and I'm like, I got to see how hot it is. And I checked the phone, 118. We have lost the plot. I can't enjoy the summer months.
No, it's bad.
We've got the whole rest of this month, the whole rest of next month.
I mean, we're not going to get out of hundreds until October.
End of October, around Halloween time is when it'll probably start to break. And even then, I don't know if it's going to be for certain. So hope everyone's staying cool today. Hope everybody is staying inside in the AC, drinking lots of water. If you're listening to us and you are outside, don't stay out there for too long. It's a hot one today. 114 today, was 118 yesterday, going to be 116 tomorrow. Please be careful out there. Please. We start today's program by discussing a move that was expected. We all knew it was coming, but it was made official yesterday. So the question now is, where do they go from here?
Time for our top story of the day. It's the Daily Special.
Made official last night, Devin Booker agreed to a 2-year contract extension worth $145 million with the Phoenix Suns. Now keeps him under team control for the next 5 seasons, has 3 years remaining on his current deal. This extension will kick in during the 2028-2029 campaign, and that will keep Devin Booker here through his age 29, his age 30, his age 31, his age 32, and age 33 seasons. It will make Devin Booker one of the highest paid players in the history of the game of basketball. An annual average value close to $75 million a season. None of this surprising. None of this out of the blue. We knew this extension was coming. We knew this opportunity was in front of the Phoenix Suns. We knew they were going to offer the extension. We knew Devin Booker was going to sign and agree to the extension. So that's not why this news is in the Daily Special today. This news is in the Daily Special today because of the reaction that I saw from many around basketball yesterday when these numbers came out on the Devin Booker contract extension, wondering aloud why the Suns would choose to, quote unquote, overpay for Devin Booker. Why, with where they're at as a franchise, with how bad things have gotten here in Phoenix, why they would choose to give Devin Booker this extension. And by doing so, by basically telling on themselves, they're showing that they don't understand the way the current game of basketball is played. They don't understand the current financial model of the NBA and how this is how it works. We have said this many times previously when Devin Booker's name has come up this offseason. There are many of you out there that do not want Devin Booker under a contract extension that's going to pay him nearly $75 million a season. That number knocks you back. It may knock you down. You may faint from hearing that number because you are not used to or accustomed to the way the financial model now works in the NBA. But this is the going rate of keeping your superstars. This is the way business is done. So you had 2 choices with Devin Booker. You could have chosen to not give Devin Booker this extension and have him be on a 3-year deal, the extension that you previously agreed to him with. And if you weren't going to extend him, then what is he doing here? If you're not going to build around him, extend him, and keep him around, then what's he doing here? And why would you trade him? Because we just went through this with the Kevin Durant stuff. You don't have your own picks. You barely were able to get back one of your picks from Houston in the deal for Kevin Durant. You barely got one of the picks that Houston has back in that deal. So now you are going to trade Devin Booker and not have your own picks and be a worse team? See, everybody doesn't think the Suns are going to win more games next year. I'll tell you what, you traded Devin Booker this offseason, you definitely were going to win less games next season. You definitely were going to be a tanking team. But this team can't tank. This team has to try to figure it out. They have to try to retool over rebuild. So if that is the case, they had no other choice than to extend Devin Booker. And so you're telling on yourself. that you don't understand the way NBA teams are built right now. You don't understand the way the financial model works in the NBA right now. And you just don't understand the value that Devin Booker has to this franchise. All-time leading scorer. Wants to be a forever Phoenix Sun. And I'm sorry, that type of stuff matters to me. That type of stuff matters when this franchise is going through another rough patch and Devin Booker is looking at that rough patch and saying, no, I still want to be here. I want to be a part of the answer. I want to be a part of the fix. I want to be one of the reasons why the first NBA championship comes home to Phoenix. That is a admirable thing from Devin Booker. It would be easy and understandable if he went to the front office this offseason and said, you know what? We tried this. We tried it with CP3 and DeAndre Ayton. We tried this with Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal. 2 runs out of it. This isn't working. This is the prime of my career. I'm going to be 29 years old next season. I've probably got 3 or 4 years left of my prime. I want to go to a team where I think I've got a better chance to win. I want to go home to Detroit, a team that's got a better chance to win. I want to go to Miami. I want to go to New York. I want to go to LA. I want to go to a team that I think is better positioned to win a championship. There hasn't even been a single hinting at Devin Booker wanting out. And yet there is a large portion of this fan base that is ready to pick up Devin Booker, drive him to the airport, and run him out of this town. I just don't get it. You should be thanking the stars that a superstar like Devin Booker wants to stay here, that wants to be a part of the answer here. And yes, is it nearly $75 million? Is that a expensive superstar to keep around? Yes. But no matter who the superstar is, that's the cost of doing business today in the NBA. So take the price tag, take the contract extension, and put it to the side. I saw somebody on Twitter mention today, good buddy of mine, Mike Bauer, in-game host for the Arizona Diamondbacks. He and I go way back, used to do radio together. He pointed something out on Twitter this morning that I thought was very interesting. Devin Booker on his next contract extension is going to make about $145 million. In Steve Nash's entire NBA career, he made $147 million. Yes, the money is stupid. The money is out of control. I agree with you. But that's just the way things are right now. So you can choose to be like, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to make a stand and say if Steve Nash couldn't make $145 million in a contract, why should Devin Booker? Good luck building a team that's going to be able to win in the NBA. Good luck with that. This is what you have to do in order to win in the NBA. So good on the Phoenix Suns for doing it. Good on Devin Booker for wanting to be here. And again, I have said this in the past. I will repeat it here today. This doesn't change that if this doesn't work over the next 2 years, that you can't trade Devin Booker and Devin Booker can't change his mind. But for right now, both sides are moving full steam ahead with Devin Booker as the face of this franchise. And I agree with this decision. Now, you've got about a 2-year window to figure this out. You have a 2-year window to turn this around, or else Devin Booker's career is going to be wasted here in Phoenix. And that's where he may start getting a little antsy and may start entertaining the idea of playing elsewhere. But for right now, you've got a 2-year window to try to make this work. You have a 2-year window to start putting the building blocks together to where Devin Booker doesn't get antsy, where Devin Booker wants to be a part of the answer, continues to want to be the answer here. And all this extension does is it buys you that time. Because if you waited those 2 years, he would be on an expiring contract. That's a very awkward place to be. So instead, you get this new extension done. He wanted to get this extension done. Jokic could have signed an extension in Denver. He told Denver, I want to wait. I want to wait another year. I can make more money. Devin says, I'll sign the contract. Now I'm a member of the Phoenix Suns for the next 5 seasons to the tune of $300+ million.
There's a commitment from the player to the team as well. And for a guy like Devin Booker to want to be here, to want to win in Phoenix, how often do you see in today's NBA a player that wants to stay with the same organization throughout their career? You have one. You have one. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. And I know there can be a scare with the price tag and everything like that. Unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever you want to say, that is today's NBA. And the number jumps out at you, but when you're working with a salary cap that's the same as the NFL's for 12 players, the numbers just jump out at you.
These new Supermax extension rules that were put in place during the last CBA and the way that they escalate and the way that new extensions can be brought to the table and how much of the cap they're allowed to be and how much over they're allowed to go has created this bubble where these contracts are getting out of control. You're going to see a player sooner rather than later that's going to make $80+ million a season, 85, 90. The TV money's going to kick in. The cap's going to continue to go up. These extensions are going to become more and more valuable because guess what? All these guys that just signed extensions, in 2 or 3 years, they're going to be eligible for extensions again, and more money is going to kick in. And so this is just the way things are. You don't have to like it. I'm not explaining this to you to tell you that you have to get over it and like it and enjoy it. I'm just telling you, this is the way it is. There is no, Devin Booker is going to take a hometown discount and make $35 million, sign a 2-year, $70 million contract extension, which is in line with what he's making. Well, not even what he's making. If he signed a 2-year, $110 million extension, that would be more in line with what he made during his last deal, which was a 4-year, $210 million designated veteran extension. Just the way it works now. These supermax extensions, these extensions where they have the rules that they have to follow, the money just keeps going up and up and up. And as John says over on the YouTube channel, he says, you're right, I don't understand the financial model. I'm not asking you to understand it. I'm not asking you to agree with it. But this is the way things are. This is the way the NBA operates. And so you had 2 choices. You could extend him or you could not extend him. What creates more chaos, more turbulence, more question marks for a franchise that is trying to avoid turbulence, avoid question marks, get themselves on a new path? Which one is better for the path that they are trying to get on? It was very clearly signing the extension. Not signing the extension, whether it was because the Suns didn't want to offer it or because Devin Booker didn't want to sign it, would create more questions, more problems, and bring in a nice big storm cloud over the Phoenix Suns while Brian Gregory and Jordan Ott try to operate year 1 being in charge in Phoenix. Is that really what you wanted? Did you want questions every single day about Devin Booker's future? Because that's what would have happened if Book chose to not sign this extension, or if the Suns chose not to offer it to him. Because everybody signs these extensions. Everybody gets offered these extensions, unless you're the Dallas Mavericks and you trade Luka Doncic ahead of needing to make this decision. This is the way the NBA works. This is the path to more stability as an organization. Is it a guarantee that Devin Booker plays all 5 years of this extension in Phoenix? No, I do not think it is a guarantee that he plays all 5 years on this extension. But what I do think it does is it puts the pressure on the organization, the pressure on Devin Booker. I think you have a 2-year runway to turn this thing around and to build something sustainable where Booker is a main piece. If you don't, if 2 years from now, we are in the same spot we're in today, wondering about the direction, wondering about the pieces, needing to continue to build to the draft. They don't have homegrown stars around Devin Booker. Jalen Green doesn't pan out to anything. Malawatch doesn't pan out to be anything. Ryan Dunn and Oso, this is their ceiling where they're at right now. If none of that pans out, and they're still stuck in the same spot they're in now, but Devin Booker is now 2 years older, then we need to have a different conversation. But if 2 years from now, this team is on the right track, we just watch a 36, nearly 37-year-old Kevin Durant have one of the best years of his career. Devin Booker can still be a contributor to a championship caliber team at 31, 32 years old. You have a 2-year window to figure this out. That's what the extension bought you. A 2-year window to figure this out, or else the final 3 years of that deal are going to be the ultimate trade chip for this organization. You want to join the program? You want to weigh in on Devin Booker's contract extension, the future of the Phoenix Suns? You can do so. 480-864-1060 is the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. You can also watch the show, interact with the show on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. Just search KDUS AM 1060 on YouTube. When we come back, it was perhaps the best start of his career. It was another win for the Arizona Diamondbacks. We'll talk about it next. It's the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 6 to 7 p.m. right here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
As the old saying goes, size matters.
At Morgan & Morgan, we have over 1,000 lawyers and nearly 6,000 people on staff.
But at the core, this is and always has been a family business.
Our family watching out for your family.
Call us or email us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even on a Saturday or a Sunday.
And if you ever have a problem, call our mom.
Morgan & Morgan.
For the people and your family.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Phoenix, are you ready to ascend? Bring me the horizon. USA Ascension Program, Part 1.
Every sky will build, my friend.
Taking over Footprint Center, October 2nd, with special guest
Crawling from hell.
Motionless in White, The Plot in You, and Amira El Fiki. On sale now at livenation.com. Bring me the horizon. Presented by the Big Red Radio.
Hello, everybody. Eric Bryan, owner of Precision Air and Plumbing. If you haven't noticed, the summer's here. The triple digits are settling in, and we know the heat isn't the only thing feeling heavy. Got a tight budget? That's why we're offering new AC units starting at just $99 a month. But that's not it. You could also get up to $3,000 in federal tax credits and rebates. It's never been a better time to upgrade. Beat the heat and budget the stress. Make the precision decision today. Call us at 602-FIX-MY-AC.
Precision decision with Precision Air.
If you don't have gas in your home, but something doesn't smell good. Ew, what's that smell? If it smells like rotten eggs, there could be a leak in your neighborhood. Now what do I do? If you suspect a leak, move fast, call 911 and Southwest Gas. But I don't have natural gas in my home. Gas lines are buried all around, so even if you don't have gas. I know, call 911 and Southwest Gas.
We are joined right now by Commanders head coach Dan Quinn. I think not all my listeners or viewers want to hear this, but fact of the matter is everything good is on the other side of hard. That's what's fun, right? If you come out the other end and you win and you do it with those you care about, man, that's what's fun, right?
That's it. That's what it's all about. And that's what being on a team sport, man, like you all have to do this together. Nobody here wins on their own. And so knowing that it's going to take a whole collective effort to do that, of players and coaches and scouts, the entire building to do that, man, you do have to work your ass off to be ready. We talked earlier about Jaden. Where does some of this success come from? That confidence is from putting in the work. Man, we appreciate that with him. He is a grind mentality. It's like going after it hard, but he also has a great time doing it.
Thank you very, very much for doing that once again. Have a great day, and I know we'll be looking forward to talking to you again soon.
All right, sounds good, Jim. Keep kicking ass, man.
You too, Dan Quinn. I'm Jim Rome.
O'Reilly. Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Attention all clones. The Jim Rome Show is here for you every day here on KDUS AM 1060.
Lots to get done. Welcome to the program.
Listen in as Rome dives into the biggest sports headlines of the day. From final scores, player contracts and trades, team prospects, and even a spicy take or two. The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. every weekday here on KDUS AM 1060.
That's the trick.
Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Diamondbacks picked up an 8-2 win last night over the San Diego Padres. Now sit at 46-40 and 47 on the season. Brandon Pfaadt delivered 8 innings of 2-run ball. And really, there's just one thing to describe what the Diamondbacks did last night.
Bang, bang, bang.
4 home runs, including a grand slam from Geraldo Perdomo, fueled the 8 runs that the Diamondbacks were able to score. And it's games like last night that frustrate me. It's games like last night that make this constant daily check-in with this team all the more agonizing. What do I mean by that? It's because you watch a game like last night, and your immediate thought after they beat the Padres, after Brandon Pfaadt looks as good as he does, they hit the 4 home runs. They've now taken 2 of the first 3 here against San Diego. Your first immediate thought is you want to buy back in. You want to hop back on board. You want to say, oh, it's not July 31st yet. This team still has time. They can get back above 500. They're now just 4.5 games back of a playoff spot. Before we know it, perhaps they could be just 2.5, 1.5. They could hop some teams in the standings. That's where your immediate thought goes after a game like last night, right?
It's hard not to, especially that's the team we thought we signed up for last night, right? Great starting pitching. You got deep into a game. They put up 8 runs. The long ball is a huge factor in that. That is the team we thought they would be.
And so they did it last night. And you want to buy back in the moment. But then this is where the frustrating part comes in. And this is where I have to douse everybody with some cold water. Wasn't this exactly what we were saying 2 days ago when they took the opener against the Padres and then proceeded to lose the next game? Wasn't this exactly what we were saying when they won the first 2 games against the Giants series before losing the last 2 to split that series? Wasn't this exactly what we were saying when they won 3 games in a row after winning the finale against the Blue Jays and starting off the Rocky series with 2 wins in a row, then taking the first 2 out of 3 from the White Sox before getting swept by the Marlins? You can pick moment after moment, game after game this season where your immediate thought after the game or after a series was, they're back. This is the team to buy into. They are going to go on that run. Yet time and time again, in fact, every time this season, you have been quickly reminded of a team that can't get the momentum rolling. That is the question about this team right now. I don't have any question about the talent level of this squad. I don't have any question about whether or not they can win enough games. I know they can. Hit 4 home runs last night, got great starting pitching. I want to talk in hour number 2 about a catcher potentially saving this team's pitching staff this season and the job that James McCann has done. Corbin Carroll's back from an injury. Suarez is a big name at the deadline. Naylor's a big name at the deadline. Why? Because they're having great seasons. I know the talent is there, but it's just about taking advantage of the opportunities to build momentum. And so far this season, they haven't capitalized on that. So far this season, as we near 100 games played for this squad, we are still waiting for that moment. And I think it is fair to wonder if that moment will ever come. And so while directly after the game, the adrenaline is still pumping, you just watched your team win a game against a division rival and look very impressive in doing so, hit all those home runs. Your young starter, who's both a short-term and long-term fix for you, looked awesome last night, giving you 8 innings. You've been getting length from your rotation as of late. The rotation overall has looked good. We mentioned those stats yesterday of how good they've been recently. All these good things, moments after the game, you feel great. Your head hits the pillow, you wake up the next day, and you're reminded by people like me, by looking at the calendar, by looking at the standings. We've been in this situation before. We've been in this exact moment before. I'm sure if you go back into the archives, if you go listen in the podcast feed, Lunch Break Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, you can hear us have these same exact conversations. We just changed the team names. We just changed the results a little bit. We changed the scores around, yet we're still asking the same question. When will they go on the run? So no, after that game last night, I did not have that feeling of, oh, they're back, of, oh, here comes the run. Why? Because we're gonna butcher this phrase. So we're gonna do it together. If we're going down, producer Evan, you and I are going down together on this one. I'm dragging you down with me. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I'm not getting fooled twice. There have been numerous times where I have been fooled by this team this season, thinking that a certain series, a certain game, a certain result was the launching point. What have we referred to this season over and over and over again? I've referred to it as a seesaw. Back and forth. Back and forth. What we've seen over the 3 games of this Padres series is just another example of that seesaw. So this team's going to have to do a lot more than 2 out of 3 so far from the Padres when it goes win, loss, win to get me back on board. They're going to have to show me that they can capitalize on the momentum. They got to show me that they can ride the wave. And so far, 93 games into the season, haven't been able to ride that wave. Haven't been able to grab hold of that momentum.
Not at all. They haven't gone on a stretch, and I've always said, they need that 9-10 stretch. They haven't shown it to me. They've had opportunities. They had that 9-game stretch on the schedule where, okay, this is it. This is where they make their run. And they just didn't. They couldn't. You get swept by the Marlins, and you finish under 500 in a span where you played the White Sox, the Marlins, the Rockies. You lost a series to the Rockies. You've lost 2 series to the Nationals. I can't fall into this trap because they're playing well in 1 series in San Diego. When, let's face it, they could lose by 6 today, and I wouldn't be surprised.
I think it was the end of May, beginning of June, where we really started to put the pressure on this team and say, hey, you've got to have a great June to set up for July to be important. I think that's when we really started to ramp up the pressure of you got to just stop hovering around 500. You've got to go on that run. This is what they did from June on. They won 4 games to start the month, then lost 3 in Cincinnati. You remember that series in Cincinnati. And that included that miraculous comeback, the final game of the Atlanta series, where they rallied 7 runs in the 9th inning to win that game. They lost 3 in Cincinnati. Then they won 5 in a row, including a sweep of Seattle and the first 2 against San Diego. Then they lost 3 in a row. Then they won 3 in a row. Then they lost to Colorado, won 2 in a row against Chicago, then lost 4 in a row, 2 against the Giants. Then they lost 3 in a row. Then it's been win, loss, win, loss, win since their loss on July 4th on Friday against the Kansas City Royals. It's just a massive seesaw, back and forth. Either it's a little mini winning streak followed by a little mini losing streak. It's a win followed by a loss, followed by a win, followed by a loss. There isn't that, to your point. 9 of 10. 8, 9, 10 games in a row. When you look at the standings right now, and for a team that drew a game closer last night, they're now just 4.5 back. They're 5-5 in their last 10. I need 7-3 in your last 10. I need 8-2, 9-1, 10-0. Those are the types of chunks that this team is going to have, and we say it. We said it all month long. They're just running out of time.
It's a short runway.
They're running out of days to have those 10-game chunks. The All-Star break is coming up next week. Find me the stretch that they're going to put it together for. I just can't find it. So I'm not getting too excited after a win last night. Lots of great takeaways to have. But you got to win again today. You got to win again over the weekend. I mean, you have to go into the All-Star break. Truthfully, you want me to come out of the All-Star break? You want me to show up on Monday and feel a little bit more optimistic and maybe cool my jets on selling? Don't lose the rest of the way. I know that's a super high bar, but that's where we're at right now.
You win 4 in a row. At that point, you would have taken, 6 of your last 7.
Now
you feel pretty good. You go into the All-Star break. Now you have a serious conversation, but it doesn't get any easier on the back half. Think about what you have on the back half. You start home against St. Louis. That's a good team. Mm-hmm. Then you got Houston for 3. That's another good team.
Both at home, though. That's an advantage. But
that's an advantage. Then you go to Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh stinks out loud.
Well,
but they took 2 or 3 from you earlier this year.
Miami
and then
stinks out loud. You got swept by them.
And then you go to Detroit.
Right. The standard bearer right now in the American League. Then you got the A's, the Padres, the Rockies. You have to go into this All-Star break. They're 46-47 right now. If they won out the rest of the way, that will put them at 50-47. Correct? 50-47?
50-47.
You have to win out. Because you got 4 games to go. You're 1 game below 500. If you win 1 more.
At 1 to 2 games above 500, you either are 3 games or 1 game above 500.
I think you have to be above 500.
I think you need to be 3 games above 500. At 1 game above 500, seemingly, let's say they stay where they're at, 4.5 games back. How do you sit there over a 3-day off period and argue we have to buy?
I can't. I constantly try to put myself in the shoes of somebody out there who still thinks this team should buy at the deadline, and I can't get there. I can't get there. You're ignoring what your eyeballs are telling you. And if you want to point to last night's game as an example, I'll point to a half a dozen, if not a dozen games that would counterweight that game. Just look at the meltdown meter. Look at how many games are on that list. Seesaw team all year long. Big win last night. Again, if they are going to do this, you need games like last night. What did we say? You have to win those pitchers' duels like the one they lost the other night. You got to win games like last night. Got to win. You got great starting pitching. Got to find a way to win. They did. They slugged 4 home runs. Perdomo hits a grand slam. Great. Check. Move on to the next one. Just day by day, start checking off wins and get yourself into the All-Star break above 500.
You take 3 of 4 against San Diego. You win today. Okay, that's a good start. But then you have to sweep the Angels, it feels like.
And then you start to show me something, right? That's when you start to show me something that's not 5-5 in your last 10.
And it feels like we keep backtracking because we say we're done with this team.
No, I'm done. I'm still done. I'm just giving you the path. You want the path for them to get me to not be done? This is the path. Win out the rest of the first half. That's what you have to do. This is a below 500 team. Desperate times call for desperate measures. You got to win 4 in a row.
No doubt about it.
You want to join the program? 480-864-1060 is the phone number. When we come back, the Cardinals, we all thought they had a pretty good offseason. Did they make a major mistake? That's next. The lunch break. KDUS, AM 1060.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KDUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Ghost World Tour 2025. Ghost Theatrical Heavy Metal Arena Rock. August 11th, Footprint Center. Tickets on sale now at LiveNation.com. Don't miss Ghost.
Everyone has a fave Wendy's Frosty flavor. And when you're choosing from chocolate or vanilla, it's not that hard. But now there's all new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. So try picking your fave from Oreo Brownie Fusion, Pop-Tarts Strawberry Fusion, Strawberry Swirl, Brownie Batter Swirl, Caramel Swirl, and Caramel Crunch Fusion. Not so easy now, huh? For a fresh way to Frosty, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
Participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location. Oreo is a trademark of Mondelez International Group. Pop-Tarts is a trademark of Kellogg North America Co., LLC. Used with permission.
Did you catch Luisito's header?
Yeah, I just recorded it on my new Samsung A36 5G phone I got for free at Total Wireless.
Oh, I'm actually live streaming the whole match with my new Samsung Tab A9 that I also got free at Total Wireless.
I got that tablet too.
And I got that phone too. We both got both.
Switch to Total Wireless and get both the Samsung A36 5G and the Samsung Tab A9 for free. For a limited time while supplies last, valid in store. Requires new phone activation on the Total 5G Unlimited plan or higher external port and ID verification and new activation on the Total 5G Unlimited 6-month tablet plan. Restrictions apply.
At Nationwide Vision, we make the back-to-school season crystal clear for you and your kids. With convenient scheduling and personalized treatment plans for the whole family, we keep things simple and stress-free, so your kids can face the day with confidence. Because vision shapes learning, and learning shapes life. Get 50% off a complete pair, and give your family the clarity to thrive in every part of their journey. Schedule an appointment today to find your focus at Nationwide Vision.
Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind. Oh my. Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays 5 to 6 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
I am buying or selling the top takes of the day coming up in about 10 minutes from now. Producer Evan will have those takes ready for us to close up hour number 1 of the program. But in the meantime, over on ESPN this morning, Seth Walder graded all of the off seasons of the 32 NFL teams and gave the Arizona Cardinals overall an A-. And he shared the biggest move, the move he liked, and the move he disliked. And the move he disliked prompted me to wonder aloud this question. Did the Cardinals make a major misstep? Did they make a mistake this offseason in regards to one specific area? We know there was a lot of focus, rightfully so, on overhauling their defense, which is why the biggest move listed here on their A- report card, signing edge Josh Sweat. We know what they prioritized and how they attacked the 2025 NFL draft, getting Nolan, getting Will Johnson in the second round, prioritizing a further reinvestment into their defense, a group that needed a major upgrade. They needed sack production. They needed pressure. They just needed a better, deeper group. It was one of the things that held them back last year. But one area that they didn't address, one area that they didn't go out there and target, that they trusted the group that they had within, was a meaningful upgrade on their offensive line, specifically at right guard. Because Will Hernandez, they let walk in free agency towards ACL, right? So they did not bring him back, and they're trusting Isaiah Adams as a potential stopgap or permanent answer at that position. They've got a right tackle in Jonah Williams, who's in the final year of his contract. So the right side of their offensive line, they're not committed to for much beyond 2025. And so the move that Seth disliked the most was not re-signing Will Hernandez. So did the Cardinals make a mistake? Did they make a mistake by trusting the group that they had internally? Did they make a misstep by not getting an outside addition, not maybe prioritizing this in the NFL draft, not prioritizing this as a free agent target? And mistake feels like too big of a word because they drafted Isaiah Adams. So they clearly believe in his ability as a player to be able to fill in. Jonah Williams was a free agent target last year, and if not for the injury, who knows, probably was going to be the starter for a majority of the season. When he came back from injury, got thrusted right back into the starting role. Paris Johnson, Yoda Froholt in the center spot. You feel really good about what the left side of the line has for this squad. They have a great swing tackle in Kelvin Beachum. There's a lot to like about this group. So calling it a mistake, calling it a misstep might be a little strong. I just wish there was less of a question mark for a group that is going to be so important. Not only for the holes that they're going to open up for James Conner, but for the protection that they're going to provide for Kyler Murray in a very important year offensively for the quarterback. We want to break out from Marvin Harrison Jr. They just extended Trey McBride. We want him to be a featured part of this offense, right? They've got Michael Wilson. They've got James Conner. They got Trey Benson. You want to get all of these guys involved in the offense. Well, you've got to create those holes in the running game, but you got to protect your quarterback.
And I don't like going into a season being a little uneasy, being a little on edge about an area of my offensive line. I'm a little concerned about the right side of this group. So would I feel better today? Would my opinion of this team going into next season feel a little bit more bolstered and stronger if I had more faith in the offensive line, if I didn't feel like there was a little bit of an opening there for there to be a problem? Yeah, of course. But this group as a whole is consistent with the group that they had last year. So there's some continuity there. There is some consistency there that's important. And so I'm going to trust this regime that they are making the right decisions. Would I like a veteran right guard? Would I like somebody with more experience for a team that has the high expectations that this Cardinals team has? Sure, because I would hate for us to be week 1, week 2, week 3 of the season talking about Kyler Murray getting crushed back there because the right side of the offensive line isn't stout enough. I would hate for us to get to that point when we knew in the offseason it was something they could have addressed.
We knew it was something they could have addressed, but we also knew there was major problems, other places on the team that they had to fill. They went out and filled some of those problems. Do I think that an upgrade at offensive line would have been extremely important for this team? Yes. I don't know if it was check one on the checklist, though.
No, there were certainly many other things that were on the checklist that were needed in front of an offensive line upgrade. But we did talk about getting a guard in free agency. We talked about, hey, is there somebody out there that you could use to upgrade this group?
And I think that there is. And it doesn't mean that they have massive holes up front. Do I think it's going to be a concern? Sure. But I think they addressed the problems they really needed to, the glaring ones. And we'll see how the offensive line holds up. But I don't think it's going to be as massive of an issue as other people do.
I would just hate for it to be the thing that stops this offense, that stops Marvin Harrison Jr. from breaking out, that stops Kyler from being able to give us a definitive answer of whether or not he's the guy to build around. I would hate for us to constantly be rehashing an offensive line conversation instead of saying offensive line played well, Kyler stumbled, or Marv stumbled, and be able to have those definitive answers. Because when you build in that excuse of we can't protect our quarterback, then you really don't know what you have. You don't know really if Marv is going to take that next step, if Kyler is ready to lead and take that next step, right? If the offensive line is Swiss cheese every week, you're not able to answer those questions. So that's where it becomes a little bit of a concern.
Let me ask you this then.
Sure.
Would you look to add a veteran through trade or free agency or anything in and around camp?
I mean, I certainly would be open to adding a veteran for some stability there in that group. Yeah, absolutely. And it could potentially just be bringing back Will Hernandez. Right? Bring back the guy who was your right guard last year as a veteran backup. And when he's ready, now you have him as an option if need be. That'd be fine with me. 480-864-1060, the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. A little buy or sell when we come back to wrap up hour number 1 of the program. It's the lunch break here on KDUS AM 1060.
The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alessio is your hub for everything high school and college sports. Join Vince and friends as they give you the full picture on student athletes and where they're heading. Live interviews with coaches across the valley.
Asking some of the tough questions.
Varsity recaps and in-depth interviews with tomorrow's sports stars. The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alessio. Live every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same-game parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona. T&Cs apply.
Make memories you'll cherish for years to come. Join Miss Appleberry, JJ, Cody, Nina, and Cece for a lively Melon Patch musical adventure in this exciting interactive live show. Saturday, October 4th and Sunday, October 5th at the Arizona State Fair. Sing along. Dance along. Play together. Tickets Tickets on sale now at azstatefair.com and include Arizona State Fair admission. It's a celebration of connection and childhood wonder. Coco Melon Sing Along Live inside the Coliseum at the Arizona State Fair.
Fargo, your virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can in the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Fargo is only available on the smartphone versions of the Wells Fargo mobile app. Wells Fargo Bank N.A. member FDIC.
It starts with a simple order. A cold Dos Equis dressed with salt and lime. But for the salt clinging to the bottle and the lime perched on top, this is the luckiest of unions. As if the universe has swiped right, pairing flavors together with a crisp Dos Equis. This is refreshment designed by fate, blessed by destiny, and served by bartenders. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis, imported by Cerveza Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West. 60 app.
Back here on the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060. Make sure you download the KDUS AM 1060 app so you can take us with you on the go. Little buy or sell to close up hour number 1 here of the program. The hottest takes in sports right here on buy or sell. You're not going to get any takes hotter than the ones provided by producer Evan that I have to buy or sell.
Wow.
How about that?
That is a
How about that?
High bar.
That's
Let's
right.
get right into it then. One of the Suns' newest additions this year will be an all-star over the next 2 seasons.
So you're giving me a 2-year runway to pick any of the new additions. That includes the guys they got in the Kevin Durant trade, right? Dylan
Yes,
Brooks
it does.
and Jalen
Dylan
Green.
Brooks, Jalen Green.
I don't expect
Mark Williams.
I don't expect Dylan Brooks to be an all-star. No offense to Dylan Brooks. So I'm looking at this through the lens of Jalen Green, Mark Williams, Malawach.
Correct.
Those 3 guys.
That was the thought process when I wrote this.
Now, I don't want to cheat here. If somebody's named to the Rising Stars game, does that count as being an all-star?
No.
So they have to be an official all-star playing in the game. Because remember, the Rising Stars team, with the way they do with the new tournament, they play in the all-star bracket. So you need to judge this.
I think you need to be an all-star, not a rising star.
So in the next 2 seasons, will one of those 3 be an all-star? Sell. I will sell.
Any player you think has the best chance?
Jalen Green.
I think it's Mark Williams for me.
Western Conference, Anthony Davis, Nikola Jokic, the center spot.
Nikola Jokic hasn't signed an extension. Anthony Davis, who knows if he'll play every game. A lot of questions.
And Williams has got an injury history too.
I know.
Jalen Green would be my pick if I had to pick one of the 3.
The trade deadline is more important for the D-backs than any other team this year.
Sell. The teams that are trying to win a championship, this matters a lot to them. You don't think there's pressure on Brian Cashman and the New York Yankees? Haven't won a title since 2009, went to the World Series last year, had that disastrous collapse in the 5th inning of the final game. Aaron Judge dropping the pop-up. He still can't get up from that moment.
It's very different importance because if you're the Yankees or any team buying, you're buying for 1 year with the goal to win a championship. This year for the D-backs is about the next 5 years. So you have a longer runway that it's important for.
Fair. I'm not diminishing the importance for the Diamondbacks, but there is importance on the other end of the coin. The Tigers, it's important for them.
Very important for the Tigers.
The Mets, the Phillies, the Giants, the Padres, the Dodgers even to try to repeat.
So sell for the D-backs. Is it most important for the Yankees? Is that the team you're taking?
I would take the Yankees as the team that the deadline is most important for, yes.
Yeah, after a very disappointing World Series. Don't doubt that.
Right now they're behind the Blue Jays in the AL East.
The Blue Jays won 10 of their last 11.
10 in a row. Lost to the White Sox, too. Thought for sure the streak was just going to keep on running.
Yeah, they lost yesterday to the White Sox 2-1. Last playoff spot in the National League is going to come down to one game.
So we've got, right now, Giants and Padres battling it out for that last spot, right?
Yes, that is correct. But there's other teams in it. So
Sure.
let's take a look. In the National League, you have the Giants, the Padres, the Cardinals, all within a game and a half. You have the Brewers and the Mets, 2.5 above that. Phillies just a half game above that.
I'll buy this. I do think it's going to come down to the wire because I think most of the teams that you just mentioned are going to try to add at the deadline. They're not going to stand pat and just roll the dice. I think they will actively try to improve their roster to give it a run. And if everybody chooses to improve their roster, I could see a world where we get to the middle of September and there's a lot of scoreboard watching going on.
You had to take one team to get that last spot in the National League. Who is it?
Okay, so who are we giving the first two spots to?
We'll give it to the Mets and the Brewers or the Phillies.
So the loser of the NL East and the Brewers are going to have the first two spots?
Yeah.
Right now, whose pitching do I like the most? Reds pitching's a little young. Cardinals don't have a ton of great pitching. Giants?
I actually agree. I think it's the Giants. Out of nowhere, but right now, I trust them more than the Padres.
Yeah, from a
It's crazy
pitching
to say.
perspective, I think that's why I would lean that way. Although the Padres have great pitching. They got Darvish back. They have Cease. They might add a starter at the deadline. They're always looking to add pitching. So could be them. But those would be the two because it's a pitching thing for me. You got to have pitching late.
You put this on hold on Monday. Thought we'd revisit it today. Merrill Kelly was snubbed of an all-star spot.
Yeah, we'll buy. I put it on hold, not layaway, but I'll buy it. I think it's a snub. Pitched well again this week.
Gonna say another great performance gives you a reason to buy.
I'll buy. So I'll buy. I did a lot of selling early, so.
The last one of the day and one very relevant today. Devin Booker will play his entire career as a Phoenix Sun.
I will buy this right now. I know that's going to probably bother a lot of you out there. There's probably a lot of you that think at some point he's going to leave. I have zero evidence pointing me to Devin Booker playing someplace else. I have a franchise, an owner, a GM, a coach that want Devin Booker here and want Devin Booker here for life. But more importantly than all of that is I have a player who hasn't played coy, who hasn't avoided the question. No, instead he's done the complete opposite. He's embraced it and has said, I don't want to play anywhere else. I want to follow in the footsteps of some of the great players in the past, and I want to stay in one place, in one franchise for the rest of my career. And right now, with all of the information that I have, there is nothing to tell me that that's going to change.
It's not often in the NBA you see, one, a player wanting to stay in the same team his entire career, and two, do it, right? Like even D Wade, you always think of him as a Heat, but he played
for the
as a Cavalier.
That's right.
And I think there was another team in
Played for
there.
the Bulls for a little bit.
Played for the Bulls in there. So not everybody, it's hard to do in the NBA to play for one team. And there's guys you remember on certain teams, but just a lot of movement in that league.
Yeah. And Steve Nash didn't finish his entire career here. Murray Stoudemire didn't finish his entire career here. Devin Booker can be that forever player for the Phoenix Suns. And there's value in that. All-time leading franchise scorer, also a forever player, all-time great. Number will go up in the rafters. Until I am given evidence or proof or a quote from Devin Booker to the contrary, he is going to be a forever Sun.
Devin Booker sells jerseys. Every kid growing up in the Valley is buying a Devin Booker jersey.
He's great with the community. He's great with the fans. He's great for the organization. He's never in trouble. He streams video games on Twitch. I mean, what kind of trouble is Devin Booker getting into? He's a perfect face of your franchise, and he wants to be here. So why would I think anything's going to change if he wants to be here? No, sell or buy. He will be here forever. 480-864-1060, the phone number for you to join us in hour number 2 of the program. When we come back, Mike Hazen is continuing to make it clear this team's going to be a seller. I'll tell you why next. It's the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Cars aren't the only vehicle on our roads. Arizona drivers, don't forget to look out for motorcycles. That means checking your blind spots. Motorcycles are hard to see. This message is sponsored by the Arizona Governor's Office of Highway Safety.
9 Inch Nails. Live at Footprint Center, September 16th. Get tickets now at NIN.com. 9 Inch Nails, live in Phoenix. Peel It Back World Tour 2025.
What we love about our ability to help patients at QC Kinetics is seeing their pure delight at finally being able to do the things they enjoy without pain.
I had a patient start treatment with me. He wanted to be able to be active again and do some of his sports that he really enjoyed.
Dr. Ashley Caravelli, a medical director for QC Kinetics, treats patients with chronic joint pain using their body's own biologics. The goal? Get them back to living their best lives without surgery or harmful drugs.
He came back and he goes, what I wasn't expecting was the ability to play on the floor with my grandchildren. Even just saying it now, I have goosebumps because it's changing those small moments that you take for granted.
Don't let joint pain rob you of those moments. See if you're a candidate for QC Kinetics regenerative treatments.
It just warms my heart to be able to help people live the life they want to live and get those small moments back.
Call QC Kinetics, 602-691-6641. That's 602-691-6641. 602-691-6641.
DQ presents How to Make Your Summer Take Flight. Just head into DQ for a new Superman Cake Batter Cookie Dough Blizzard Treat. Treat your inner hero to an epic mix of sugar cookie dough, sprinkles, and cake batter flavor. Blend it all with legendary DQ soft serve, and it's enough to tempt Superman himself. Fly into DQ for our new Superman Cake Batter Cookie Dough Blizzard Treat before it's gone. And don't miss Superman, only in theaters July 11th. DQ, happy tastes good. Only at participating locations.
Get more summer for your dollar with 4 slams for under $10 each at Denny's, like the new Red, White, and Berry Everyday Value Slam. It's summer.
And TRICARE Department of Defense plan members. It's easy to transfer prescriptions at friesfood.com/payer update. See your Fry's Pharmacy for details.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Hour number 2 of the lunch break here on KDUS AM 1060. Appreciate you joining us. Chris Schubert with you. One more hour for us. Producer Evan is behind the glass. He's taking your phone calls. 480-864-1060. Now, Producer Evan, do you think I'm ever going to get to the point where I can remove the Post-it note that has the phone number in front of me as the constant reminder? Do you think I'm ever just going to commit it to memory? Because there are times where I don't look at the Post-it note, but it's it's like a comfort food. Just the fact that it's there in case I have a brain fart and I don't remember the phone number, it's right there.
I think you'll always be at a point, or you'll be at a point where you're not looking at it, but I think you're always going to want it there.
Right. It's a safety blanket. It's just nice for it to be there. Yeah. Nice for it to be there for
I
you.
just don't know if you're going to be in a spot where you're not going to have it there. Now, there might be a day where you misplace it, put something over it, and you got to live without it. But I don't think there's going to be a time where you throw that away and say, this is my moving on. I know the number.
I do worry about the stickiness of the Post-it note.
Yeah.
Of being able to stay on there.
That could become a problem.
Might have to replace it with a new sticky note of the phone number. But
and
yes,
that'll be the decision point.
That'll be the day that I choose. Do I want to write it down again, or do I just leave it and commit it to memory and just hopefully never forget? Well, we'll see. But for right now, it's right there in front of me. And so I'll remind you again, 480-864-1060 is the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. Mike Hazen, down the dial, spoke in his weekly appearances that he makes on the main station for the Arizona Diamondbacks. That's the way that we'll phrase it. And his quotes continued to reiterate to me somebody who is leaning towards selling. I'll paraphrase the quotes from his appearance, but basically said that and I agree with the main point that he was saying. You can't completely overhaul your baseball team in one deadline. I was listening to Brian Cashman yesterday, GM of the Yankees. They DFA'd DJ LeMahieu yesterday with a year and a half left on his contract. And he met with the media after that news. And it was obviously an opportunity for the media to ask for some updates about where things stand for the Yankees ahead of their trade deadline plans and where Cashman might be looking. And he kind of listed off, yeah, I could use a bat. I could use a third baseman. Yeah, I could always use a starter. Yeah, I could use some relievers. But then Cashman said the important part out loud. We can't do all those things. It's almost impossible to address every single need on your checklist in the middle of a season. It's easier to do so in the offseason during free agency when you're able to trade with all the other teams. You're not under a time crunch. You're not trying to manage a roster in a given year. You're trying to put together a roster for the next season. And so he admitted we can't do all of the things that we think we need to do. So we need to figure out what our most important, what our most pressing needs are, address those, and hope that players step up in the vacuum that exists in those other areas. And Mike Hazen said a very similar thing, that you can't completely dramatically overhaul a baseball team. The composition, I believe, was the word that he used, about a team in a trade deadline. You can't do it. You can't completely overhaul the composition, the makeup of your squad. Your squad is your squad. This team is going to go as far as Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte, Eugenio Suarez, if he's still here, Josh Naylor, if he's still here, is going to take them. They're going to go as far as their starting pitching, Merrill Kelly, if he's still here, Zach Allen, if he's still here, Brandon Pfaadt, Ryan Nelson, Eduardo Rodriguez, as far as those guys are going to take them. Can they add a complementary piece? Could they add some bullpen help to give those guys an opportunity, if they have leads late, to hold on to those leads so we don't have any more meltdowns to discuss and they're able to turn those games into actual victories? Sure. But I used the key word there, complementary pieces. You're not going to get a new closer, two new setup men in a trade deadline. That's not going to happen. You might be able to add one high leverage reliever, a couple of dart throws for some low leverage or middle leverage relievers who could turn into something more, but you're not overhauling an entire bullpen in one trade deadline. You're not overhauling your team in one trade deadline. And that was Mike Hazen's way of saying this team, as it is currently constructed, is good enough. They're just not doing it. The results aren't there yet. So if we are going to add, if we are going to bring in those complementary pieces, then the core of this group has to show us something. This is now, the third or fourth time we've brought up different Mike Hazen comments. Jesse Rogers' story on ESPN, podcast he did with John Heyman and Joel Sherman of the New York Post, and now an interview that he did here with local media. 3 different times. I've had the same takeaway all 3 times. It does not sound like a GM who is going to be buying at the deadline. It sounds very much like a GM that is telling all of us, without telling us, this team is going to be sellers. And you know what? We have to trust that decision if that's the decision that Mike Hazen chooses to make. We have to trust that he knows a lot more about this ball club, that he knows a lot more about the direction that this team is going to be able to go in than we do. I feel like I have a pretty good feel for this team, a pretty good gauge as to what they're going to be this year. There's more data, more numbers, more information for Mike Hazen and the Diamondbacks in that front office to make this decision. So if he chooses to sell, and if he maybe chooses to sell a little earlier than July 31st, right? If he chooses to sell a week plus out of that deadline, then I think we need to trust in this process. Mike Hazen is the general manager here in this town, the executive in this town that I believe deserves the largest benefit of the doubt. And so he is telling us, without telling us, that this team is going to sell. He is telling us that, hey, the wild card's got to come back to us a little bit. Hey, this team's got to give me a reason to buy. I want to buy, but this team's got to give me a reason to buy. And then saying that the composition of this team isn't going to drastically change at the trade deadline. Basically saying the hay is in the barn. This group's got to do a lot of the heavy lifting. They've got to do a lot of the heavy lifting the rest of this week. They have to do a lot of the heavy lifting the rest of this month. And they need to force Mike Hazen to buy. Because right now, it sounds like a GM that doesn't want to buy, that understands the right move for this team, not just for this year, but for the long-term health and future and stability of this organization, is to sell. And it goes along with the results that we're seeing. Goes along with what we said in hour number 1 of the program about the seesaw nature of this squad. Anytime you think for just a brief second that this team has turned a corner, that this team's going to get hot, they're going to have that string of momentum, of luck go their way, you're very quickly reminded of who this team is this year. We wait until what? Memorial Day to really, truly identify a team? And
that's what they say.
And around Memorial Day, where was this team?
500.
Where are they right now?
Around 500.
Nothing's changed. They've played a bunch of games in between those two dates, but nothing's changed. Some more injuries have piled up, but nothing's changed. Lost a lot of pitchers, had some more meltdowns, but nothing's changed.
They are who they've told us they are.
Your record is a reflection of who you are at a certain point. And that's why people choose Memorial Day. Around Memorial Day, your record is a more true reflection of who you are as a squad. And guess what? A team that doesn't have a stable enough bullpen, a team that has gotten shaky, inconsistent starting pitching, they've had guys in and out of the lineup injury-wise, I'm not surprised they're hovering around 500. That feels like a lot to overcome as a squad. Health, stability, consistency of your key groups. This team has operated most of the year without a 9th inning guy, an 8th inning guy, and a 7th inning guy. Most of the season, they have operated without those 3 pieces in their bullpen. So should we be surprised that they're below 500? No. Absolutely not. We should not be surprised that they're below 500. And again, this is now the 3rd different example of Mike Hazen telling us, in my opinion, without telling us, he's not buying at the deadline. He's selling. He's trying to keep the door open in case this team wins 12 in a row to then buy. But he is setting the stage for this team to be the belle of the ball in 2 weeks. Are you ready for that, producer Evan? Are you ready for this team to be the centerpiece of the deadline?
It's going to be fun.
Just rumors flying over the place.
It's going to be sad because of the expectations and the hopes that surrounded this team. But it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be fun to see them get younger and get a boatload of prospects that might be able to come up and break the starting lineup this year. We could see Lawler get a real shot at playing third every day.
Let me push back on one thing that you said. You said it would be upsetting if that's the conversation that we would have over the next 2 weeks. And I think there's a brief moment where you're allowed to be upset and frustrated and annoyed that this season has turned so sour so quickly. But I view this as a great opportunity. I view this as Mike Hazen's chance to make 2026 important, to make 2027, if we have that season, if there isn't a lockout in 2027, that season important. Because if he would have just sat on his hands and let this season run its course, I don't know what 2026 would look like. I don't know what 2027, if we have that season, what that would look like. Whereas instead, this is a chance. If you play your cards right, if you get the right returns, you can set yourself up very well for 2026. So while I get the being upset part of it, I view this, the baseball nerd in me, the guy who loves looking at the roster and the future roster and the contracts and the money and seeing how a team's going to look 1, 2, 3 years down the road, I view this as a huge opportunity for this franchise. And I get excited at what they can turn this opportunity. Because we would say right now this season, lemons, Mike Hazen can make lemonade if he lands things correctly at the deadline. The Diamondbacks this season have handed Mike Hazen some lemons. He can try to turn them into lemonade.
It's going to be exciting to see young prospects come in, see a lot of them have a chance to break a starting lineup in 2025, get young players up. You're going to see your top prospect probably make consistent starts at third base. You're going to really know what you have in Jordan Lawler by the end of the year.
It's in my contract. When you say his name, I have to play the drop.
But that's what's going to be exciting about it. And yes, there will be a second there that you're like, man, this season could have been.
But we've done that every single day for 93 games so far. So now when they admit what they are as a team, and now Mike Hazen gets to show off his GM chops, I get excited. I'm geared up and ready to go. I'm ready to see him wheel and deal like Brad Pitt in Moneyball. Like, I'm ready. I'm ready. Because this is a chance to change the future of the franchise, to keep this window, to keep this core that you have in a position to where they can still be relevant in 2026. They can still be relevant in 2027, to do what the Suns are trying to do. You can do it. You can retool. We've used that comparison a bunch over the last week or so. That the Suns are trying to retool. Maybe they shouldn't, but they are. The Diamondbacks can and should retool, and we're going to get to see they're in a much better position in order to do so than the Suns were. Expiring contracts that can be moved, big-time production this year from Eugenio Suarez and from Josh Naylor, players that could fetch a decent return. They can set themselves up really, really nicely.
Very nicely. This could set them up for a 5-year window of being a consistent contender.
You just have to land the returns.
You could circle, in 2030, you could circle the 2025 trade deadline and be like, hey, Mike Hazen earns his stripes there.
If they take care of their business correctly at the deadline, if they choose to sell, there is a decent chance we look back at the 2025 deadline as the turning point for this team if they find success in 26 and 27. 480-864-1060, your way to join us on the phone lines. You can also join us over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. And I will tell you, we had a little bit of an audio issue in hour number 1 of the program that we were working through. I apparently fixed it during the last commercial break going into hour number 2 because everyone over on the YouTube side says, Chris, thank you. The static is gone. Do you want to know what I did? Legitimately, do you want to know what I did to fix the static?
Did you unplug the audio and plug it back in?
That was part of it. I moved the wire a little bit.
You just twisted it?
I just moved the wire. It was kind of coiled up, and I was like, I don't think this is it, but let me just spread out the wire a little bit. Right before we went on the air, I kind of gave you a look of like, hey, I might need 10 more seconds because I was checking to make sure it worked. Apparently it worked. So I didn't reboot the system. I just literally moved the wire's positioning. We're back. Note to self for the post show, change out that wire so we don't have that problem tomorrow. But that's it. It's all I did. Audio genius. Just move the wire a little bit. So when they say turn it off and turn it back on or unplug it, plug it back in, most of the time it works. Most of the time that solves the issue. When we come back, did we overvalue the addition of Josh Sweat to the Cardinals defense? That's next on the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
Attention all clones. The Jim Rome Show is here for you every day here on KDUS AM 1060.
Lots to get done. Welcome to the program.
Listen in as Rome dives into the biggest sports headlines of the day. From final scores, player contracts and trades, team prospects, and even a spicy take or two. The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. every weekday here on KDUS AM 1060.
That's the trick.
Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
The Mazda More to Move You sales event is going on now at Mark Mazda in Scottsdale. Right now, receive 1.9% financing for up to 60 months on the brand new 2025 Mazda CX-50 or CX-50 Hybrid.
Or receive $10,000 off the top of MSRP when you lease a brand new 2025 Mazda CX-70 or CX-90 plug-in hybrid. Think of how low your payment will be with those savings. Go to markmazdascottsdale.com.
The name to remember, Mark Mazda, Mark Mazda, on approved credit plus $998 fee.
Judas Priest and Alice Cooper. The Metal Gods, Judas Priest. The Godfather of shock rock, Alice Cooper. October 22nd, Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater with special guest, Corrosion of Conformity. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Presented by 100.7 KSLX, part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
Fulton Homes is bringing legendary Fulton quality back to the West Valley. Explore 4 exceptional West Valley locations with more standard features and thousands of ways to personalize your home. Find out why people buy Fulton Homes over and over again. Fulton Homes, you're proud to own, we're proud to build.
Shop everyday low prices on a huge selection of home furnishings at Living Spaces. Find everything you need to bring comfort, style, and functionality to your space for less. With modern sofas starting at $295, stylish queen beds from just $150, and statement-making dining sets starting at $295. So you can elevate your home with pieces that fit your style and your budget. We even offer clearance deals that are up to 60% off. Plus, get free shipping as soon as next day. Save big every day, only at Living Spaces.
Living Spaces.
This fall, choose Primavera Online, and you'll be choosing a school with flexibility, personalized support, and an award-winning curriculum that's over 20 years strong. Now enrolling grades K-12 at chooseprimavera.com.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. There's just something about Pat Riley. The hair, grayer. Suits, not as sleek. The magic, still very much alive. While most NBA executives are busy chasing big fish with even bigger contracts, Riley continues to do what he always does best. He finds elite talent without mortgaging the future. Case in point, Norman Powell. Coming off a career year with the Clippers, 22 points per game, over 40% from three-point range, and still defends. That's borderline all-star production. And somehow Miami landed him by giving up Kevin Love. No disrespect to the 36-year-old Love, but that's not exactly a king's ransom. It's just another classic Riley move. Identify undervalued talent, strike quickly, and keep the heat in the conversation. Call it savvy, call it luck. After decades of doing this, it's time to call this what it really is. Genius. Pat Riley still moves in silence, but he's deadly. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. There's nothing like King's Hawaiian sliders and summer grilling season. They go together. You got King's Hawaiian, soft, fluffy, irresistible rolls, slider buns, so versatile, perfect for any slider. No matter if you're looking to grill chicken or beef or pork, seafood, anything you can think of, you're going to put it on the grill, you can put it on a King's Hawaiian slider bun. Kick off summer grilling season. Pick up a pack of those irresistible King's Hawaiian rolls in the bakery or deli section of your local grocery store. There's nothing like it. If you're looking for your next job, you know it can be a lonely process. Let Express Employment Professionals be your one connection to finding a job that fits. Getting an interview with Express can be as easy as a phone call. And with just one application at Express Employment Professionals, you're in the running for numerous opportunities in your community. They know who's hiring, what the benefits are, and they pass all that information to you. You can find out more information at your local Express office today. Go to expresspros.com.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KTUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
Producer Evan, do you want me to go there? Do you want me to fight your battles for you, or do you want to do it yourself? I'm going to leave the choice up to you.
I can do it. I just think, John, you need a new joke.
So, okay, you got to set it up better than that. There's maybe part of the audience that doesn't understand what's going on because that was an off-air conversation that we were having, and we came back. So the answer to the question was, no, I needed to fight the battle for you because you didn't set it up correctly. So during the break, I walked into producer Evan's control room. And he looked at me, and I could tell something was bothering him. And I said, what's going on? He goes, John's got to come up with new material because John continues to give Evan a hard time, producer Evan a hard time, for the one time early on in producer Evan's tenure here as the producer of the program, when he was still learning things, he accidentally, when our guy John, one of our P1s, won a prize, he hung up on him accidentally. And Evan has not been able to live it down. But now the joke has gotten to a point where Evan wants some new material. He says, John, your material's no longer good. You got to come up with some new material. So I asked producer Evan during the break, do you want me to do this for you, or do you want to do it? And he's like, no, I can do it. And so that's why I came back and asked him, am you still fighting your battles for you, or do you want me to do it? So
no, listen, John, you're a P1. I think we got great banter.
Oh, John's our guy.
He's our guy. And I don't want this to be a knock on John. It's not. I just think, little fresh material wouldn't hurt him.
So you're like the guy who buys a ticket to the comedy show, and now you're heckling the act.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Listen, I'm always going to have your back in any of the battles with our regulars. I'm going to be team producer Evan. Okay, I'm always going to have your back, and I don't like that our guy John goes after you the way that he does for one little mistake. Everybody deserves a second chance in life. Everybody deserves that opportunity, and you have not been afforded that opportunity yet. So I think my message to John and to any of the listeners here of the program, producer Evan deserves a second chance. Okay, we don't get on him too much, and have some new material. That's all I'll say. Just freshen it up a little bit.
That's all I want, John. You can throw a dig at me, just not for hanging up the phone anymore.
Yeah, just some new material.
Yeah,
some new material. That's all. Oh, you feel better now?
Feel much better.
It was bothering you a lot during the last break. It was really bothering you. What may be bothering some Cardinals fans today. Earlier this week, we brought the list of the top 10 running backs, according to ESPN. We had a conversation about James Conner. And they are doing this series where they're going through all of these different positions. And today was the safety group. Now, we didn't touch on yesterday's list. Yesterday's list was the edge group. And producer Evan, I did a lot of scrolling on the edge group. And you know whose name I didn't see? I also did the Control F thing, and then typed in his name. And you know whose name didn't come up? 0 out of 0. Wasn't on there. Not even in the top 10, not an honorable mention, not others receiving votes as one of the top 10 edge rushers in the league going into next season. Josh Sweat was not listed as one of the top 10 edge in this list that was put together by ESPN. Was not listed as an honorable mention, was not listed as an others receiving votes, wasn't mentioned at all. Now, we know the impact that Josh Sweat can have on this defense, the impact that we all want him to have on this defense. But are we overvaluing how big of a move that was for the Arizona Cardinals? They didn't add a top 10 edge rusher, at least according to ESPN. They didn't even add a top 15, maybe a top 20 edge rusher, if you extend this list out to the honorable mentions and the others that were receiving votes. But that's not what that move was about. That move wasn't about landing a Max Crosby or a Trey Hendrickson or a Myles Garrett. It was never about getting one of those top-tier edge pass rushers. What getting Josh Sweat was about was raising the floor of what this defense can do. It was about giving opposing offensive coordinators and O-line coaches at least one player on the other side of the defense that they needed to respect. This team invested heavily on their defense in the last couple of drafts. Darius Robinson, Walter Nolan, along the interior of their defensive line. They have other guys that can get after the quarterback. They just weren't doing it consistently enough. So what Josh Sweat was brought here to do was to be somebody that was familiar with this defense, that had good production under Jonathan Gannon in the past, and can provide that veteran leadership for a group that needed it. I don't think any of us, after Sweat was signed by the Cardinals, were expecting him to put up what Trey Hendrickson put up the last couple of years, leading the league in sacks with 17.5. Or to be TJ Watt or Max Crosby or Myles Garrett. But what we are expecting, what we do think this move can be, is a raising of the floor of the entire defense to where they are a quality over quantity group. They are not just one pass rusher, but they are a pass rush group that gives opposing offenses fits.
That's the goal, is to get deeper and to have a more effective pass rush. Listen, they were not going to be a contender for TJ Watt or Trey Hendrickson. No matter how much we wanted them to be, they weren't going to make that big splash trade. But Josh Sweat was the best available edge rusher. They went out. They got him.
Yep.
And they knew they had a hole. They filled it. Listen, in his year with Jonathan Gannon, they went to the Super Bowl. He had 11 sacks for one of the best pass rushes in the history of the league. And so what has he done outside of that? Over the last 4 years, 7.5, 11, 6.5 was his lowest, and then 8. Gosh, if they can get 9 sacks out of him, I think you're happy with Jonathan Gannon's first season. With Josh Sweat's first season as a Cardinal.
Do you know what I say and we were annoyed that James Conner wasn't in the top 10 of running backs. Do you know what I say to Josh Sweat not being on the top 10 of edge linebackers?
Who cares?
I don't care. Him being top 10 or not top 10 isn't going to impact how valuable I think he is going to be to this defense. The correct way to look at the Josh Sweat signing is the way that everybody in the moment looked at it. This was the best defender available in free agency. The Cardinals knew they needed to get better at that position as a whole. They didn't overpay. They got a guy in there that's going to raise the floor of their group, should provide opportunities for Calais Campbell, for Darius Robinson, for Dalvin Tomlinson, for Walter Nolan, for Zaven Collins, for all of these guys on this defense. He is going to provide more opportunities for those guys to contribute just as much as Josh Sweat will be able to contribute. This was not about bringing in a premier 15, 16, 17 sack guy that's going to dominate the league and be a defensive player of the year. That was never the intent of this move. The intent of this move was we need somebody that other offenses are going to respect to open the opportunities, to open the doors for everybody else and raise the floor of our group. And that's what they did. They made their room better. That was the intent of addressing this need in the offseason.
You make your room better. It's going to, what we believe and what has been proven through the National Football League's history. When you add a better edge rusher on the other side, typically your other edge rushers gain production as well. And so if you can raise the floor of the entire group, you can see Darius Robinson have a more productive year. You can see the guys from the interior have a more productive year. You added Calais Campbell, who's going to fill up the interior of the defensive line extremely nicely. Listen, they raised the floor by the whole group by a pretty significant margin with 2 additions and Walter Nolan.
Nobody thought the Arizona Cardinals were signing a top 5 or top 10 pass rusher when they signed Josh Sweat. They just knew they were signing the best pass rusher available that was going to help make their group better. Nobody in the wake of that signing said the Cardinals now added one of the premier pass rushers in the game, but they understood that they added a player that was going to help their group. So don't be worried that Josh Sweat wasn't on the top 10 list. Don't be worried that he wasn't mentioned as an honorable mention. Don't think now, what were the Cardinals doing? They didn't even add a premier talent at this position. That was never what this was about. This was about making the overall room healthier, raising the floor of that group, giving an opportunity for players to maybe reach their ceilings. Darius Robinson, Walter Nolan, as young players in this defense. And oh, by the way, Josh Sweat can also produce at a pretty high level. And if he got to double-digit sacks, I think we'd all be pretty happy and not worried about where he was on a preseason list. We're not going to be that worried about it.
They had a hole. They addressed it with the best player available. And doing that, they made their group better. If he has 8 sacks this year, that defensive line is going to be improved significantly. Yep. He doesn't need to have 12. If he has 8 to 10 sacks, we're going to be happy with the improvement of the defensive line and their ability to get after the quarterback. That's it.
We are going to watch a team this year, and we're not going to worry about the individual numbers of a group, right? I think in Cleveland, people care about how good Myles Garrett is and what individual numbers he puts up. I think in Vegas, they care about how good of a year Max Crosby has, TJ Watt, these premier pass rushers. I don't think any of us are going to care at the end of the year if Josh Sweat has 5 sacks, 10 sacks, 15 sacks, 200 sacks. All we're going to care about is, did they fix this problem? Are they getting more consistent pressure, making it difficult on opposing quarterbacks to succeed against them? If they are doing that, if we are coming in here on the Monday after an NFL week and we're not talking about, man, the Cardinals just couldn't get pressure on Matt Stafford. They just couldn't consistently get home on Brock Purdy.
They couldn't make it difficult on Sam Darnold. He was picking them apart. If we're having those conversations, then it is going to matter what the production numbers are. It is going to matter the individual numbers. But if we're coming in here and saying, man, as a team, they had 5 sacks, they got after the quarterback, they made it difficult, the pocket was constantly collapsing, quarterback was on the run, could never get anything going, we're not going to care who had the 5 sacks. We're not going to care if Evan or I got the sack in the game. All that's going to matter is, did this group get better? Did this group perform the way that they're supposed to? And did the Cardinals win? That's all that's going to matter. 480-864-1060, the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. When we come back, has James McCann saved the Diamondbacks rotation? That's next. The lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind.
Oh my.
Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays 5 to 6 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Global Credit Union, how can I help you?
It's one of those voice prompts.
Representative! Good morning. How can I help?
Wait, is this a real person?
It's 2 a.m.
We're here to help members 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Impossible.
At Global, possible. Learn more at globalcu.org. Global Credit Union, your world of financial possibilities.
The Offspring. Supercharged worldwide in 25. One unforgettable summer night. The Offspring, live in Phoenix. With special guests Jimmy Eat World and Newfound Glory. Playing Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater August 27th. Get tickets now at livenation.com. 3 great bands. 1 incredible show. Part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
Hey, it's Austin Clark, owner of Moxie Pest Control. You know, most pest control companies use the same products we do. That's not the difference. But what is the difference is how we treat people. At Moxie, kindness counts. And it shows in every visit, every conversation, and every one of the 6,500 plus 5-star Google reviews our customers have written. Our field experts aren't just trained to handle pests. They're trained to treat your home, your family, your pets, and your time with the kind of respect you deserve. And our services come with a pest-free guarantee. Our methods and service just work better because our people are better. So if you want a pest control company you can trust in and around your home, give us a call. We offer same-day services in most cases, and we'll even give you 50% off your first service when you call. Call 888-MOXIE-10. That's 888-MOXIE-10. Moxie Pest Control, the highest and most reviewed pest control company in Arizona.
Babe, I thought you were putting together a box of donations for me to drop off at Goodwill.
I am. I'm reliving my rocker days in the process.
That leather jacket hasn't been your style since the 90s?
You're right. I guess it's time to pass it on to someone new.
Don't worry. I still think you're cool. Let's go to Goodwill.
Get a 20% off coupon when you donate 1 full bag of usable goods by August 31st. Ask your donation attendant for the QR to scan and claim your digital coupon.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I'm Kevin Rowe from Lerner & Rowe, and we've been serving Arizonans for 20 years. Make the best choice after an accident. Call 977-1900. That's 977-1900.
Lerner & Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900. 977-1900.
The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alicio is your hub for everything high school and college sports. Join Vince and friends as they give you the full picture on student athletes and where they're heading. Live interviews with coaches across the valley.
Asking some of the tough questions.
Varsity recaps and in-depth interviews with tomorrow's sports stars. The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alicio. Live every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
you want one little piece of information that tells you everything that you need to know about the Arizona Diamondbacks season so far? This is courtesy of D-back Stats and Info this morning. This is every member of the current Arizona Diamondbacks bullpen and where they were on opening day. Backus, minor league camp. Beeks signed with the Diamondbacks the day before the season started. Curtis, minor league camp. DeSclafani, a free agent. Ginkel on the IL. Juan Murillo, minor league camp. Sal Frank was suspended. Woodford, Yankees minor league camp. That is the state of the Diamondbacks bullpen right now on July 10th. A bunch of guys that were in minor league camp, a bunch of guys that weren't even with the team, a guy that was suspended, a guy that was hurt, and one guy that signed the day before the season started. You should not be surprised that this team is 46 and 47. You should not be surprised that this team is struggling. That is their bullpen right now. That's the state of their bullpen on July 10th. Now, there is something that is occurring recently that is fascinating to me. In the wake of Gabby Moreno going down with his injury, the Diamondbacks made the move to go out and get veteran catcher James McCann to join this group. He signed with the team on June 23rd. He's made 7 starts for the Diamondbacks since joining the squad. Do you know what the ERA of the Diamondbacks pitchers is in his 7 starts compared to what they are with Gabby Moreno and with Jose Herrera? It is startling, the difference. This also comes from D-back Stats and Info. In the 7 starts that McCann has had this season, Arizona pitchers have pitched to a 3.57 ERA with McCann behind the plate. With Gabby, their ERA is 4.92, and with Jose Herrera, it is a 4.52 ERA. Close to a full run difference between McCann and Herrera, more than a full run, nearly a run and a half difference between McCann and Gabby Moreno. Those are numbers you just can't ignore. You have a veteran catcher who is clearly providing that veteran presence in the way the preparation is occurring for these games, the way the game is being called throughout the game. You can't ignore this. And oh, by the way, he's 7 for 20 since joining the team, hitting .350 with a 1.269 OPS. Hit 2 home runs so far since joining this team in his 20 at-bats. But has started 5 of 9 games since July 1st. And in his 7 starts this year is a 3.57 ERA. You can't ignore that. He's providing value to this team. There is value in a veteran behind the plate who, in James McCann's case, has been around the block a few times, has worked with great starting pitchers, knows how to manage a pitching staff, knows how to call a certain pitch in a certain spot. And it is not a surprise that this week, what have we been talking about? Really good Zach Allen start, really good Merrill Kelly start, really good Brandon Pfaadt start. The pitching overall recently of being really good. I don't think it is a coincidence that James McCann's arrival to this team has coincided with this pitching starting to get better because, yes, the pitcher has to execute. Yes, their stuff has to play. But how a catcher and pitcher call a game, how they structure an at-bat, how they choose to attack a certain hitter, attack a certain part of a lineup can very much impact the outing that pitcher is going to have. And so earlier this week, I was kind of keeping an eye on this because a lot of people were tweeting about it. But boy, some credit needs to go to James McCann because I think he's having an impact on this pitching staff.
I think it's one of the more underrated parts about a catcher is how they call a game. Like, nobody ever really talks about it. But as soon as James McCann's gotten here, you're right. He has just become, this pitching staff has just had a really, really nice time managing these lineups. And is it coincidence that we saw Brandon Pfaadt's best start of the year?
No,
I mean, I thought he set up hitters really well last night. And that's been the biggest part about some of these. Yes, we've seen Zach Allen use the sinker more effective, a couple times, and we talked about that. And maybe that has to do more with James McCann and how they're setting hitters up.
I wonder if James McCann's presence and being that veteran and coming in here and having nothing to lose and being somebody who is a multi-year veteran in the big leagues, if he's just challenging these pitchers more than, let's say, a Gabby Moreno was. And that's not a knock on Gabby. It's not a knock on Jose Herrera, but they're young players. They're still trying to find their way in the big leagues. James McCann, been there, done that, has gotten big contracts, has been paid the big bucks.
So he doesn't have that pressure. He just wants an opportunity to play at the big league level. The Diamondbacks are providing that for him. So he doesn't have that pressure. And so maybe he's calling some of these guys out. Hey, why are you doing this? Why are we calling this pitch in this spot? And he's challenging these pitchers. And more importantly, maybe he's challenging this coaching staff differently. Fresh voice, a fresh look on things sometimes can change the way you approach things. And so maybe James is coming in. And again, I don't want to put too much praise on James McCann, but I'm just trying to piece it together here. Maybe McCann came in and is challenging the coaching staff. Hey, why are we doing it this way? What if we did this? And the coaching staff is taking a step back and going, oh, I hadn't considered that. And they're doing it and it's working. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but it certainly is very timely that all of a sudden this pitching is starting to look a little bit better. And they brought in a veteran catcher who's been around the block a few times and knows what he's doing.
And I think the other thing, too, is putting together scouting reports, right?
Yeah.
So what is he seeing differently? And when you have a guy who's been around the league, okay, what is he noticing about how they put together scouting reports? Is he looking to attack certain hitters differently based on times he's faced them or he's seen them? There's multiple layers to this that could add a different dynamic of why they're getting better pitching. And like you said, we're not trying to throw it all on James McCann. It's a big part of the pitcher is just executing.
Yeah, of course.
But they seem to be setting hitters up better over the last week and a half than they had previously this season.
The pitcher-catcher relationship is so important. It is so important to a pitcher's ability to succeed because they have to, if they're not the one calling the game, right? Zach Allen calls his own game. He's got the pitch comm on his glove. He's the one calling the game. In most other cases, the catcher is the one dictating what we're going to throw in a certain spot. And if you see a pitcher shake off a catcher a bunch, that's just a quick glimpse into that they're not on the same page. When you sometimes hear a starter after the game go, man, I don't think I shook off the catcher once. That's when you know they're in lockstep. And I wonder if James McCann is providing that to this staff in a way that they didn't have previously, that he is giving them some more confidence in the way he's calling the game. And all it takes is a couple of pitches where maybe you're a little suspicious of why he's calling that pitch, but you do it, you execute it, and it works. And now you trust him more. And I certainly am going to watch these games with a little bit of a closer eye now to see if there is a little more here. But I saw the stat this morning from D-Back Stats and Info, and it's a full run different between James McCann and Jose Herrera. I know it's a small sample size. It's a run and a half close to difference between Gabby Moreno and James McCann. And I wonder if there is this is showing that there is value in having a veteran catcher on staff who has been there, done that, and knows how to manage a pitching staff. He doesn't have to. He can be a butcher up there. He can hit 112. He can hit 150. But that veteran presence of being that backup catcher, being able to start every, 1 day a week, 2 days a week, but be that extra coach, that extra extension of this coaching staff. And I wonder if that would do well for Gabby, if that would do well for Jose Herrera, if it would do well for the Diamondbacks pitchers as a whole. But certainly something feels different here over the last couple of starts for this pitching staff. 480-864-1060, the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. We've got one more for you before we are out of here and hand things off to Jim Rome at the top of the hour. It is the leftovers when we come back, all the stories that we didn't get to throughout the course of the program. We'll do it next. It's the lunch break, KDUS, AM 1060.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 6 to 7 p.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app.
Phoenix, Saturday night soccer is calling. Join Phoenix Rising on August 2nd at 7:30 p.m. as they take on Birmingham Legion in a can't-miss summer showdown. Enjoy the popular $4 3-for-3 menu with a $4 all-beef hot dog and $3 drink specials available all game long. Tickets start at just $15. Get yours now at phxrisingfc.com. Great food, great match, all for a great price.
Lincoln Park. From Zero World Tour 2025.
You ready?
Yes, you got me open just to watch me. Live in Phoenix. Footprint Center, Saturday, September 6th, with special guest Gene Dawson. Get tickets now at livenation.com. For more, visit lincolnpark.com.
Hi, I'm Brian, your friend and jeweler here at Shane Company. Come on in, feel at home, and let's find your dream engagement ring. I'm proud to work for a company that puts customers first and lets them shop the way they want to. See, we believe shopping for an engagement ring should be fun without any of the pressure. We don't work on commission, so finding your dream ring is truly on your terms. We'll be right by your side as your friend and jeweler to help you find a ring more beautiful than you imagined and stick to your budget too. We have all of the styles and all of the smiles. You can even watch our in-house jewelers working their magic inside your neighborhood store. It's that kind of care and craftsmanship that makes Shane Company's free lifetime warranty the best in the business, saving you thousands over time and giving you peace of mind. No appointment necessary, or check us out at shaneco.com. Because a friend knows when you're ready, you're ready. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Attention all clones. The Jim Rome Show is here for you every day here on KDUS AM 1060.
Lots to get done. Welcome to the program.
Listen in as Rome dives into the biggest sports headlines of the day. From final scores, player contracts and trades, team prospects, and even a spicy take or two. The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. every weekday here on KDUS AM 1060.
That's the trick.
Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Back here on the lunch break, wrapping up the Thursday edition of the show. Jim Rome's coming up at the top of the hour. It is the leftovers, all the stories we didn't get to throughout the course of the program. Producer Evan.
Both feet on the ground, stand by what I say.
You've got the stories.
I do.
Take it away, my friend.
The Dodgers with a tough go of things.
Oh, this is where we're starting? I got to talk about the Dodgers?
This is where we're starting. Where did you think we would start?
Some place other than this.
Have lost 6 in a row.
They have.
They got swept by the Astros.
Oh, that's what we're talking about. Okay, I'm back in now.
And they got swept by the Brewers.
Yeah.
And I just got to say, I think this slump is real. And I know this is going to upset some people in the YouTube chat.
Oh, boy.
But, I just think that this is a real slump for them. They can't get outs. And they really have been struggling with the bats recently.
So you know what you've done now. You know who. Let me just refresh here. Let me just refresh the page because you know what's coming. You know what's coming. You know what email I'm getting here during this segment of the program because you know who's a Dodgers fan. And we are surrounded here on this program. We've got a Giants fan on YouTube. Okay, we've got the Dodgers fan Paul who emails in. I mean, we are surrounded by foes in the NL West. I don't know how it's happened. I appreciate that fans of other teams enjoy this show so much. I think that's a credit to you and I. But we are surrounded. And so you know that by saying that you think this slump is real, losing 6 in a row, the email's coming in. I'm just preparing you.
I just think this is something they have to be worried about in postseason.
It was always a concern before the year of whether or not they could stay healthy enough with their pitching, right? That was always always
a problem.
The question mark. And I think as we sit here in July, that question still exists. I'm not worried about their offense. Their offense is always going to be great. They've got 3 MVPs at the top of their lineup. They'll add a bat if they need to at the deadline. They just need to stay healthy pitching-wise. And I think it's why they have 400 arms available to them in their system so that in case they get hit with an injury bug, they can try to weather the storm. But, yeah, I mean, anytime you lose 6 games in a row, you have to take note of that. You have to pay attention to it.
100%. And I just think to get swept by the Astros, which feels like a rivalry series for them, and then Milwaukee, who has been playing good baseball recently, but certainly aren't the Dodgers.
No, not at all.
NCAA football. Official release day today. Are you going to get the game?
So I did not get last year's game. I cannot explain to you how much of college football 14 I played in my college dorm room. We had a system it was my freshman year dorm room. We were playing, I think it was 12 at the time. It was either 12 or 14. Yeah, it had to have been 12 because I started school in August of 2012. So in 12, we had my small little TV in my dorm room. We had the PS3. We had NCAA Football 12. And we had a dynasty as me and my roommate, and we had one other person that was a part of it. And we had one person who was the offensive coordinator. We had one person who was the defensive coordinator. And we had one person whose strict job was to be the overseer and the special teams guy. Like we had designated roles. We would pass the controller around. We would get together 8 o'clock. We got a big game this week. We were Mississippi State. All right, big SEC game coming up this week. When's your last class end? Okay, 8:15. We'll get some food. We'll be ready to go. And then in the middle of the year, if things weren't working, there would be a shakeup. Offensive coordinator would go to the special teams, overseer guy. Sometimes you need a new look, because I'll tell you, there were times as the defensive coordinator, I didn't like what plays we were calling on the offensive side of the ball. I wasn't a huge fan. We were
That's awesome.
Tempo was a little quick. So I love the college football games. A lot going. So the game last year came out. What was it? Around this time last year? Or was it?
I think it was a little later. Honestly.
Like August, right?
Yeah.
It was when I started here. And so there was a lot of moving parts to start this job and do this. So I didn't play it as much in year one. Played it a little bit. I think I'll consider getting it closer to Christmas time.
I think I'm going to get it. I'll do the Dynasty thing. Apparently they've made Road to Glory even harder this year. And I couldn't throw a touchdown in Road to Glory.
Really?
Because the vision they give you, which I didn't find out till months later, you can change, but you're like in a, point of view of the quarterback. I'm low to the ground. It's hard to see. Playing quarterback's difficult.
Yes. Playing sports at an elite level is a difficult task. Yes, I'm glad that a video game is teaching you that. But yes, it is difficult to play a sport at an elite high level. Yes.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
I was on TCU. I didn't really love our offensive line. We took a lot of hits.
I am seeing a lot of people that are getting ready for the game, and playbooks are already coming out, and it's
And it's more fun knowing ASU's good. Like having that to play online with people is going to be tons of fun. Story in the NBA. I hate to jump the gun on this.
Okay.
But it seems as if Giannis is kind of dismissing trade rumors.
He's not going anywhere.
He seems to love Milwaukee because he keeps saying, I love Milwaukee.
No, so it's one of these.
Both feet on the ground, stand by what I say.
Not going anywhere.
So I don't think he's going anywhere.
No, I think if he was going to go somewhere, it would have happened by now. Would have happened probably before the NBA draft. I think he's going to maybe see through this year and then decide what he wants to do with his future. But yeah, I mean, I think his name's always going to be floated out there until the end of time as somebody who could be on the move in the NBA, just because this kind of links back to the conversation we had to open up the show. You don't have players that stick around. You don't have players that stay in one spot. LeBron James did not stay in one spot. Kevin Durant did not stay in one spot. Honestly, the star player of this era that stayed in one spot, Steph Curry.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Kawhi Leonard on the move. I don't know what you think of Joel Embiid, but Joel Embiid hasn't gone anywhere yet. But he's not on that level of stardom, in my opinion.
You need to win. Yeah, Steph Curry is really the only one.
Steph Curry is the only one. Everybody else from this era, Klay Thompson didn't stay. LeBron's on his, third different team?
Draymond.
But Draymond's not Steph.
No.
So I'm talking super stardom. Steph's the only guy. Damian Lillard left Portland.
Yeah, there's not one.
There isn't one. So it is very rare. And so that's why.
Felt like Westbrook was going to be in OKC for a long time.
James Harden, multiple different places. Chris Paul, multiple different places. Paul George, multiple different places. I mean, I'm just naming stars of this last era of basketball. Kyrie Irving, multiple different stops. Luka Doncic is now on his second team.
That's just today's NBA.
So until the end of time, we will discuss Giannis being on the move.
Brent Rooker has joined the Home Run Derby, bringing us now to Junior Caminero, James Wood, O'Neal Cruz, Cal Raleigh, Byron Buxton, Ronald Acuna Jr. ? At first I heard he was in, then I heard he declined. Now I'm hearing he's in again. But Brent Rooker is in.
Is this one of those you got by the internet things?
No, this is a ESPN story.
No, about Acuna being in and out and back in.
Yeah.
Did you get got by the internet again?
No, I didn't get got by the internet.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
This is a story.
You have a track record here. Unfortunately, you have a track record of falling for fake news on the internet.
CBS Sports posted a story about the guys in the home run derby.
And they had Acuna listed.
And Acuna is listed on the list.
Okay, then you're clear. You're in the clear. I don't know if I'm excited for the home run derby this year. I don't know.
I typically always am. I think it's a great event, but I don't know. Just none of the names really jump out.
Yeah, maybe as we get closer and there's no other sports going on, I'll be interested, but
pumped to see them wear their actual jerseys again.
Jim Rome's coming up next. Producer Evan, thank you for all that you do. Everybody, have a great rest of your Thursday. We'll talk to you tomorrow. See ya!